Welcome to the Hotel Moment Podcast, presented by Revinate, the podcast where we talk to leaders in the hospitality industry. If you're looking for trends, perspectives, and stories from leaders in travel and hospitality, you're in the right place.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hotel Moment Podcast. Today I couldn't be more excited to welcome Brian Murphy, a tremendously passionate and skilled hospitality professional. Brian is based in Ireland, where he works with Cliste Hospitality as their group customer relationship management executive. Brian has worked at many award-winning restaurants and hotels, and judging by his job history, is a born leader and someone who knows how to manage both guest and staff expectations within this ever-changing sector. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much, Karen. It's lovely to be here.
Well, you know what? I'm so excited to have you on the call. We have many customers in Ireland, and we don't have enough representation on this podcast, so you're the guy.
It's great. It's great. No, it's good. It's great.
Great. So just to get us started here, I had a look at your LinkedIn profile, and you've really worked at some beautiful hotels and restaurants all across both the UK and Ireland, and a couple hotels and restaurants in London as well. So having worked in several different hospitality environments where the expectations of customers must have been very high in some cases, how important is adaptability to thrive in those roles that you've had in the past?
That's a really good question. I suppose, I started out in the hospitality industry 15 years ago. And it's an industry that I fell into, and I remember like it was just yesterday. But I suppose I've worked in so many different properties throughout my time. From the boutique hotels and to the corporate giants in Liverpool Street to the Michelin star restaurants. And at the end of the day, I suppose I've always found that the guest is the guest, and it's all about adapting to. I've never ever changed who I was, I suppose, in my job. I've always been true to who I am, and I suppose that's kind of what has kind of kept me in the industry, because I suppose every day is different, and has been different, and adapting to those guest preferences is. I think I'm going off topic, Karen. I think.
No, you're not. No, I think you've got it.
Sorry.
I mean, I think what you're hitting on is brilliant. It's about bringing your authenticity to whatever you're doing, and
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, I can restart it. I suppose as I say, I fell into the hotel industry, Karen, and it just fell in my lap, and I didn't know what to expect. And I always think back, I beat the hospitality book so much, and I decided then to pursue it, moved to London, and as I say, I came from really small boutique Irish hotels into to London. And I always remember I was so scared going to London because I didn't know what the expectancy was there. How is it? But I soon realized that as long as you're true to yourself and you stick to your guns and you don't change who you are. I mean, it's an industry of personalities, and I've been lucky enough to be successful in all of the diverse range of hotels and restaurants I've worked in, because of that ethos.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's the most fun that I have doing these interviews on the podcast is that everybody I talk to that works in hospitality, because we're such people person, we just love it. And once you get into it, as you say, no matter what job you go into, you kind of bring that guest experience, and it's an authentic, true thing that you love about you, that's core to your personality, I guess is
Absolutely.
the way to say it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the industry of hospitality, it's a tough industry, but it's one thing that I find, especially, having spent the majority of my career in operations, that, the good days most certainly outweigh the bad ones, because, it's those positive guest experiences or those experiences that you take away every day, and you see the impression that it has on that guest journey, is what makes you stay in the industry.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the history of Cliste and what's got you excited about the business lately?
Yeah, so a little bit about Cliste Hospitality. So if we rewind, Cliste is one of the leading operators and management of hospitality venues throughout the lovely island of Ireland, and founded by Paul Fitzgerald and Sean O'Driscoll. Our journey began back in 2012, and I suppose their vision was to redefine hospitality. Our really diverse portfolio at the moment, it includes 14 hotels. We just recently expanded into Belfast with the Gasworks Hotel, and our collection of hotels is a really diverse it's a really diverse selection of 4 and 5-star hotels throughout kind of handpick areas of Ireland. And they're all inspired by, different cultures and the stunning surrounding landscapes that they all have. And I suppose, if we look at, our portfolio is so diverse. We've got the modern contemporary in Dublin with the Dublin One Hotel, down to the, the 5-star luxury Muckers Park Hotel and Spa in Killarney, that tourist destination. And a lot of it is in the name, as I said, Cliste, which is Gaelic for clever. I suppose it not only reflects our Irish roots, but it also is our commitment to building, that genuine relationships with our properties, our clients, and our communities alike. And I suppose me personally, Cliste Hospitality, and specifically the Ainua collection, I'm most excited to see where we're going to go. I mean, since I've come on board, we have grown so much, and, in times of uncertainty, to see that we are expanding our portfolio and growing as a team, and is a real testament to, I suppose, the product that we supply. And, me personally in the CRM realm, having come from operations, I'm starting to see the other side and see kind of that what's on the horizon, and it really looks good. So
right, that's exciting. So I always love it when someone, again, we talk to a lot of professionals on this podcast that started in one area of the business, be that operations. You did a lot of restaurant things, and then you move over kind of the more, let's call it, technology heavy part of the business. So now you're in email marketing and CRM.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about how you leverage AI or technology, or how do you, because, you've got a lot of guests, a lot of hotels, they're coming from all different parts of the world. So how do you, in your new role, leverage technology to really meet those expectations and also, let's face it, drive bookings into those hotels?
Yeah. So, as I say, you hit the nail on the head. I came from operations. I've recently come into CRM and email marketing with Cliste Hospitality. And I suppose, it was a role that came about, Karen, because our portfolio was expanding, and we've been working with Revinate for several years. And we had this incredible pool of data, but I suppose we weren't probably leveraging it, as best as we possibly could. And, we at Cliste, we're certainly understanding the importance that technology is now with the industry, how we're harboring in so many initiatives at the moment, and we're always experimenting with different initiatives as well. I suppose as of recent, so we've started to roll out our online check-in just to make everything easier for the guest on that journey. We've also implemented our chatbots across the property as well, which is fantastic because it feeds into our Revinate. So any of those warm leads that we get through our chatbots can feed back into Revinate, and we can attract those audiences to our properties. I suppose one that I'm really excited about at the moment is Ivy, which is has come on board in the last couple of months, and we're just in the soft launch phase of Ivy. And we're so excited about it here at Cliste to introduce Ivy across the group, because not only, are we the first hotel group in Ireland to roll out Ivy, but I suppose it really is like a significant step forward in aligning, I suppose, our mission of creating those deeper connections with our guests. Our approach kind of revolves around leveraging those personalized automated communication through the guest journey and enhancing that engagement and satisfaction. Ivy is such a versatile tool that it contributes to so many various objectives that we have. So, we really want to improve that guest satisfaction across the portfolio. We really want to understand the guests and their preferences, but not only with Ivy, it also addresses any on-site issues that we have promptly. But again, we want to try and boost that outlet revenue as well. And really, when we were looking for a tool to Ivy ticked all those boxes really. And do you know what, for us as well, Karen, in the industry, obviously staffing has become, it is a global issue in the industry at the moment. And I suppose Ivy has its ability with artificial intelligence to free up our staff on the site. It really allows them more time to focus on delivering, I suppose, the old school meaningful guest experiences that we all know well. And by embracing the AI technology, routine tasks are automated. So it empowers all the team on the floor, and I all know too well, to give those personalized and that exceptional service. And with Ivy, it was a no-brainer for us because we know that the guests are now, they're real tech savvy, and who rely on WhatsApp quite daily, and we're starting to really understand now their digital habits. And our aim is, I suppose, is to try and enhance the guest journey at every touch point, by delivering, not only a message, but a personalized, value-driven message. So we're incredibly excited. We're thrilled to have Ivy come on board. As I say, it's kind of in the soft launch phase at the moment. But as you said, we get a lot of international guests to our properties. Ireland is a really hot destination for international guests, especially from America and the United States. And a bit further than that, with Ivy Translate, it's now allowing us to tap in to our international guests by communicating with them in their native languages. So we're attracting a way broader audience now than we ever could. And we're really excited to see how Ivy evolves and positively impacts that guest interaction.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking about Ivy. So Ivy is our messaging app. It's our SMS app that integrates with WhatsApp, for the listeners who don't know too much about Ivy. But I think you hit the nail on the head. You really want to meet guests where they are. They already have WhatsApp on their phone. They don't have to download something new. And then I really love what you talked about with your staff, because staffing is an issue. And then also, you don't, for the professionals you do have on property, you don't want to bother them with what's the Wi-Fi password? Can I get extra towels? What time does the restaurant open? So there's so many questions that guests ask over and over and over again. And if you can automate part of that, great. And then you also have the ability, when it is a more in-depth question, something about a local restaurant or something happening in the region, your staff can jump in and actually do what they do best, which is proper guest experience. So thanks for calling that out, because I think it's
because
important.
You know what, Karen, it really is, the staff that we have, we're incredibly blessed across our portfolio with the level of staff that we have. And the Irish, they're particularly known for delivering that customer service, and people travel to Ireland for it. So we don't necessarily want to kind of replace that.
Right.
While we're embracing technology, Cliste Hospitality, and we understand it's a pivotal role in the industry, we would never want to overshadow that personal touch, and that genuine hospitality that our colleagues provide, and our guests crave it. So what we at Cliste are just using AI to enhance and to facilitate those connections.
And I think that's the proper use. I think AI can be so terrifying to a lot of people. Certainly when you look at the news, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is going to do everything. But I think actually the proper application of AI is to do exactly what you're saying. Take away the redundant tasks that nobody wants to do, but you will never be able to replace the staff that's on property. And that is why people go to Ireland, because they love Irish people, because they want to, I know speaking as an American, we love everything about it, the accent, the sense of humor, like everything. So I think that's a good way to think about it. So kind of looking off into the future, what do you think, if you had a crystal ball, like, what do you see, any big advancements coming down the line for hospitality? We talked a little bit about AI. You talked about kind of the new check-in. what is kind of your dream state coming down the line if you had a crystal ball in the next, call it 5 to 10 years for hospitality?
It's a really tough one, to be honest. It's a really hard one to call, because I say fortunate. I've seen massive changes in the industry myself, having worked my way up through the industry, seen out through pandemics, worked through pandemics, post-pandemic, and now where we are today. If I had a crystal ball where we are in 5 to 10 years, you know what, Karen, I wouldn't like a whole lot to change, to be honest with you. And that's me being truthful. It's already, as we've touched on, AI taking over those mundane tasks, but it's an industry that has lasted the test of time, and has seen out, a pandemic, and has probably come out stronger than it. Of course we've had our ups and downs, but it's always been such a resilient industry. And yeah, if I had a crystal ball, I would love to see, it just grow and flourish like it always has, and not to change too much, really.
Right.
And yeah, that's kind of where I would love to see it.
I love it.
Advancement, but I wouldn't love to see too much of a change. I just think it's a beautiful thing, and I'd hate to see too much change to it.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it. We keep optimizing what we've got going on here,
absolutely.
Maximize it. But the core of it needs to because that's what, I think that's what's so wonderful about hospitality. We deliver experiences, we're the vacation of a lifetime. We're the how people recharge and relax and connect. So I agree with you 100%. Okay, so I've got one last question for you. Okay. What piece of advice would you give someone just getting into hospitality now? So someone who's brand new, they're thinking about coming into the sector. What piece of advice would you give?
Stick with it. Stick with it. I started, as I say, 15 years ago, and I really did not see, I didn't really know if there was a future for it in me. And especially after pandemic, I thought about different career paths, as did a lot of people. But advice, stick with it. It's the most rewarding industry, I find. If someone could have told me 15 years ago that I'd be sitting here talking to you, Karen, I would have laughed. And I've literally gone. I never studied hospitality, Karen. I worked my way up through the ranks, and anyone starting out in hospitality, I will say, just get out there. Travel as well is really beneficial. London really kind of opened up my eyes to the expectancies in the industry, but also kind of the opportunities. Spread your wings, go to meetings that you're not invited to, ask the questions that you're not supposed to ask.
Yeah.
A mentor told me very early on in my career, Karen, to always surround yourself with, people who have an interest not only in your personal growth, but also your professional growth. And I've always kind of stuck by that throughout my career and been incredibly lucky. But you make your own luck as well in the industry, I find. So stick with it. I know the hours are long. I know, those split shifts and those, but it's all worth it. And set yourself a goal, and I'm sure you can get there.
Okay, great. So Brian, it has been a real pleasure. So if folks want to learn more about Cliste Hospitality, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can learn more about Cliste Hospitality. It's CLISTE Hospitality. And you can also see our diverse range in the INUA collection at inua.ie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brian.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you for listening to the Hotel Moment podcast. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe for more content. For more information, head to hotelmomentpodcast.com. The Hotel Moment podcast is presented by Revinate.